Alright, if you think prime rib is best in the oven, you might want to sit down for this. We're skipping the oven completely and throwing this bad boy on the smoker. And trust me, the results are next level. This is smoked prime rib done right. Let's get started. If you want your smoked prime rib to turn out ridiculously juicy and packed with flavor, it all starts with picking the right cut. And trust me, this step makes all the difference. See those little white streaks of fat running through the meat? That's marbling, and it's pure gold. More marbling means a more tender, flavorful bite, so don't skimp on this. Now, the big debate, bone in or boneless. Bone in gives you extra flavor and keeps that meat insulated while it smokes, but if you want an easy cooking session and slicing, go boneless. Either way, you're winning. And size, plan on about a pound per person. But hey, if you end up with leftovers, I promise you won't be mad. Have you ever had a prime rib sandwich the next day? They're unreal. Okay, we've got the perfect cut. Now let's talk seasoning. You don't need to overthink this. Prime rib is already packed with flavor, so we're keeping it crazy simple. Just coarse salt, cracked black pepper, red pepper flake, and a little garlic powder. If you ever had a steakhouse prime rib and wonder why it tastes so good, this is why. No fancy rubs, just the basics done right. The salt locks in the moisture, the black and the red pepper flake add a little bite, and the garlic, well, that's a no-brainer. You can also use some Montreal steak seasoning. It has most of those ingredients already included. And here's the secret sauce. Well, not actual sauce, because we don't need that, but dry brining. Just season it, stick it in the fridge uncovered overnight, and the salt pulls the moisture to the surface. It also dissolves into the meat and gives you that deep, beefy flavor with a killer crust. It's a small step, but it makes a massive difference when you hit it with that smoke. Speaking of which, let's fire up the smoker. If you get this part right, you're in for some next level smoked prime rib. First things first, the wood. You want something that's going to enhance the beef, not overpower it. I like to go with hickory, or oak, or applewood. Hickory gives you that bold smoky punch. Oak is smooth and well-rounded, and applewood, it adds a little sweetness that plays really well with beef. Any of these will work, so pick what sounds best for you. Now, let's talk heat. 250 degrees Fahrenheit is the sweet spot. Low and slow is the name of the game. And this tip lets the fat render down perfectly while keeping everything juicy and tender. One of the biggest mistakes that people make, putting the roast too close to the fire. Don't do it. You want indirect heat, meaning the roast sits off to the side so that the smoke has time to really work its way in without burning the outside. This is how you get that deep, rich flavor all the way through. All right, the hard part is done. Now we let the smoker do its thing. But up next, making sure the prime rib stays ridiculously juicy while it cooks. Let's get into it. You don't want to rush this part. Low and slow is the way to go. Plan for about 30 to 40 minutes per pound at 250 degrees Fahrenheit. So for a 6-pound roast, you're looking at around 3 to 4 hours of steady smoking. Yeah, it takes time, but that's how you get that perfect juicy bite. And here's the thing, fat is your best friend in this cook. That beautiful marbling is melting down and basting the meat from the inside. That's how you get the prime rib that's ridiculously juicy. You don't want to rush this process. If you're in a dry climate or your smoker runs a little hot, you can tent the roast with foil for the last hour to keep it from drying out. But honestly, if you pick the right cut and let the fat do its job, you probably won't need to. All right, we're in the home stretch. The prime rib is soaking up all that smoky goodness. The fat is doing exactly what it should. So let's talk about the one thing that separates perfect prime rib from a dried out disaster: temperature. Forget cooking by time alone. If you're not using a thermometer, you're just guessing. But what are you aiming for? Rare. That's 120 to 125 degrees Fahrenheit. This is super juicy, nice and red. Medium rare, 130 to 135 degrees. This is the sweet spot. Tender, flavorful, and exactly what most people love. Medium, 140 to 145 degrees Fahrenheit. Still juicy, but with just a little less pink. And here's where most folks mess up. They pull the meat too late. If you wait until it's 135 degrees for medium rare, guess what? It's going to cook even after you take it off. That's called carryover cooking. The heat inside keeps working and the temperature will climb another 5 to 10 degrees while it rests. So you want to pull it early, right around 125 degrees Fahrenheit if you're shooting for that perfect 135 degrees finish. Hitting the right internal temperature is key, but I know it can be tricky. If you want my prime rib cooking guide, including the smoking times based on weight, drop prime rib in the comments and I'll send it over. All right, we've done the low and slow part, but now it's time to take this thing to the next level. We're going full throttle with a reverse seal to lock in that beautiful crispy crust. After all that gentle smoking, we're cranking the heat up to 500 degrees or higher. You can do this in your smoker, on a ripping hot grill, or even on a cast iron pan. Whatever you got, just make sure it's scorching hot. Now that's the sound you'll want to hear. That's all the rendered fat and seasoning reacting to the heat, building up that deep golden brown crust we're after. And the best part, it only takes 60 to 90 seconds per side. Just enough to lock in all that smoky goodness without overcooking the inside. But here's the part that most people skip. The rest. I know it smells amazing and you just want to dive right in, but giving it 20 to 30 minutes lets all those juices settle back in. So every bite is crazy tender and juicy. This is the moment of truth. We gave it time to rest, we locked in all the flavor, and now let's see what we got. Look at that. That's exactly what we're looking for. Deep smoke ring, juicy as can be, and that crust, absolute perfection. This isn't just prime rib. This is next level prime rib. If you've never tried smoking a prime rib, you need to. Once you do it, you'll never go back to oven roasting again. So now you know how to cook a prime rib roast in a smoker the right way instead of using the oven. But here's the thing, not everyone has a traditional smoker. And if you think an electric smoker can't give you the same incredible flavor, think again. Click on this video right here, and I'll show you exactly how to smoke a prime rib in an electric smoker, step by step. I'll see you there.